show you a quick, easy way to make a denim hem without a lot of work. So if you have your multi-purpose tool, pull that out. We're going to first just kind of sew a little bit of the denim fabric together. And you will find that when you do this type of stitching, where you start to take your fabric and you fold this up and then you fold it up again, what happens? We sometimes break needles. We sometimes get stitches that aren't as even, like you get smaller stitches as you go over something really thick, or you might even try to push it, and that doesn't work either. So a couple tips along the way for doing a denim seam. Number one, I'm going to turn this over. Always sew from the top side when you're working with top stitching. That's why they call it top stitching, especially for a perfect looking seam. Your seam or look of the seam is going to change as you ask it to go through a lot of thicker layers. That needle kind of takes a little detour on its way out, but it's a straighter stitch from the top. Next, lengthen the stitch length. So I usually take it to 3 or even up to 3.5. Stop with the needle in the down position and watch how easy it is. Now, do have the IDT engaged. That's that integrated dual feed in the back. And honestly, I can go right up and over this seam, no problem. Of course, if you're going through some really thick denim, put a denim needle on. Be at a size 90 or 100. But watch how this tool is going to make your life so much easier. So as your foot starts to go up the mountain, this is where the seam is, you will find that your back part of the foot is kind of pressing down while your front part of the foot is kind of going up the mountain. So the pressure is all on the back, not where you need it. But if you lift your presser foot up, notice that this tool first has 2 different thicknesses. Since this isn't super thick, I'm going to use the thinner one. On something thicker, I'd use this other side. But I'm going to bring it back behind the foot and set it so my foot, when it comes down, it is level. So sometimes people call this a leveler. So look at the back. Do you notice that the foot is now level with the seam I'm going over? So nice even stitches. I'm not trying to push it or force it or anything. Once you kind of clear the back, bring the tool in front, and that's why there's a little groove here where you can actually stitch. Well, not all the way. Stop before you get into the tool. But notice how even these stitches are as you've asked it to go over something very, very thick. The other key, though, was when I lengthen that stitch length, those feed dogs are doing the work underneath to really help pull it through. If you leave it at the shorter stitch length, then it only pulls in a little bit and those stitches get much smaller. So don't be afraid to lengthen that stitch length out. Now, if you want this to look a little heavier, remember you've got stitch number 2. That reinforced straight stitch is another way to kind of get a thicker stitch as it goes. Remember, it goes stitch forward 2 times and back once. And look, it even brings it to a stitch length of 4 just to help out with that. So here's how I'll put my little tool back underneath. Lift up the presser foot. It needs a little bit more clearance to get underneath. That leveler will do the work for you. I can tell my needle is working overtime here, but it is going through it barely. Again, sharper needle, denim needle, all that good things will make this turn out perfect every time. So if you've struggled with hems before, this would be a tool to keep handy. Comes with your machine, but look how perfect those stitches are.